Hey guys, my name's Dee Dee Stevens, and I'm the person who's doing the talking on this podcast coming up. And the first thing I'm going to do is kind of tell you how this Bible study came about and a little bit about what it's about. But I ask you to hang on when I finish for just some little things I also would like you to know. So here we go. It was September in the 1970s, and our elementary age children were back in school. There were 6 of us, all in our late 20s or early 30s, and we had decided to get together once a week to learn more about God. We didn't know very much at all, but we were hungry to learn and decided a great place to start was the subject of faith. Our plan was to look up all the verses in the Bible that contained the word faith and try to figure them out. Well, after a couple of weeks, we were totally confused. And that's when we bumped into this Bible verse in Galatians 5:6. Faith works by love, or faith working through love. Oh, okay, we thought. Maybe before we can understand faith, we first need to understand love. And maybe someone needs to be the teacher. No one else wanted to be the teacher, so I volunteered. After all, I had lots of experience. I had always been the teacher when my younger sister and I played school growing up. Well, that's supposed to be a little joke. I actually had no Bible study experience, but I did enjoy researching and finding the answers to questions. We began with the same old plan, looking up the Bible verses containing the word love. When we found the following verse, it became what I will call our North Star. It was Ephesians 5:1-2. Be imitators of God, copy him and follow his example. As well-beloved children, imitate their Father and walk in love. We had no idea what God had prepared for us, what he was getting ready to do in our lives. I had no idea the journey I was beginning. For the next 2 years, from 1979 to 1981, we did life together, and the Lord began teaching us how to apply love with every step. Oh my goodness, what a wonderful adventure. For the next 35 years, I journeyed this love walk with women, mostly in small groups, in different churches and home settings, women of all shapes and sizes and colors, of all ages and stages and walks of life. And as I walked, this love walk grew as I grew and changed as my life experiences traveled through valleys and over mountaintops, joyous times and dark places. The end result was 48 lessons that eventually became 4 Love Walk books that were published in 2016. And when I say I wrote them, the real truth is that God wrote them. I'm putting that in air quotes because I believe he fed it to me over the 2-year period, that 2-year period of my life, 1979 to 81, when I really needed to know more about walking in love. So he wrote it. I just put the words on paper. Then the Lord has faithfully continued to update and add to these lessons through the years. So now you too are about to start this amazing adventure, walking through our everyday lives as he has called us to walk with this love walk can transform us, our homes, and our relationships to our spouse, our children, our friends, family, co-workers, even our enemies. It can allow God to move us from conflict to peace, from chaos to contentment, from worry to joy. This amazing study changed my life, and I am so excited to share it with any of you who would like to join me on this journey. You also cannot even imagine what God has planned for you, but I promise you this, it will be life-changing. Oh, how I wish I could be there in person to walk it with you. For sure, we will talk about it once we meet in eternity. So that's my introduction to the Love Walk. Now, I have these last things that I'm just going to tack on. First of all, I know some of you are going to use this for Bible study. And so I have promised to give you 3 questions that you can always use to share together after each Bible study lesson. Here's number 1. What was your favorite nugget? You can give one or two and then say why it was your favorite. By the way, a nugget is a quote, a story, or idea that really jumped out at you, something you really want to remember or you wanted to write down. Number 2, what was your favorite Bible verse and why? And number 3, is there a story from your own life that you'd like to share as a result of this Bible study? Finally, here's a great quote from a fellow named Denver Moore from the book Same Kind of Different as Me. By the way, a great book you might want to read. Here's the quote. There is too much Bible studying and not enough Bible doing. So I'm making this suggestion that sometimes after a lesson, you as a group or a pair of you might want to come up with a Bible doing that you might want to do together. It can be anything from fixing a meal for someone that's sick, deciding you're each going to write a thank you note to someone who has really impacted your life, all the way to something more complicated like deciding together to adopt an inner city classroom and be like their room mother. So that was number 1. The number 2 thing that, these are kind of short now, that I want to throw in here is podcast, or do you want to listen to the podcast or do you want to buy the books? Let me say this. The Love Walk books were published in 2016, and I have continued to teach since then. And every time I teach, I update those lessons. I am now reading my lessons in 2024, and I have taught many times since 2016. So unfortunately, what I am now reading on these podcasts 8 years later no longer follows along with the books. So if you are thinking about doing a Bible study on your own or with a group, it would be best to decide to either use the podcast or the books, which do have questions and activities after each lesson, but the two do not work together. The books can be found on Amazon. And then my last little thing is a disclaimer that's important to me to put in here. Because this Bible study was first done almost 50 years ago with only 6 people, and because there was zero expectation for what it would become, there are so many quotes, some long paragraphs from many wonderful Bible teachers and book authors that were never documented. And now I have no idea who they were or how to give them credit. So I have to simply say thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you taught me and for what I can now pass along. And then I will ask, if you find yourself here, please let me know so I can give credit where credit is due.